Okay, we are on to the wiring loom, and as you can see I have been spending a little bit of time on it, but not all has changed. Effectively I've married up the various areas where they join. I've had a look at various connectors and where I've had to cut the wires, and I've looked at areas where I can improve the wiring loom. Now, I know the lighting here is terrible, but I know that this loom works, or worked when it came off the bike, so the idea isn't to do a huge restoration on the wiring loom. The idea is to remove a lot of the bodges, a lot of the connectors that are bodged, a lot of the dry solder joints, clean up the existing connectors which are pretty gammy, and to replace this sort of thing here where you've got weird kind of Y leads soldered in. For example, this joint here should be effectively 4 cables, so you've got one coming in from the switch gear which then feeds out to 3 different areas, one of them being the headlamp, one of them being the binnacle, and one of them, I can't remember, it's a little while since I looked at it, but the idea is to basically tidy that up. The other idea is that once I've done all that, I'm going to strip back some of this sheathing, if I can, and resheathe it with some fresh stuff. I should have done this bit of filming before I got into it, but I just got into it. This connector here was a mess, so what I've done today is I've desoldered that and put in fresh solder with proper flux so that we have a decent connection to it. This is effectively the earth side, which goes off in 2 directions. One is through the side light and then back to earth here. The other thing I've done, which took more time than that, was to sort out the spring-loaded connector that engages with the bulb. The cables were frayed and hanging on by a thread, so I've repaired those and I've added heat shrink tubing at the point where they join to stop any potential for arcing out. I do believe they were arcing when I was using it, because occasionally the lights would just not work. You'd give it a tap and off they'd go, and I suspect the loose copper wiring in there was earthing out through it. So I've checked the continuity using a multimeter, and everything from that side of things are fine, so I'm going to put that back into the actual headlamp itself now. This will be looked at again later. I want to put some bullet connectors onto these areas here that were previously soldered, and again here they will get proper connectors so that we can detach the headlight as and when we need to. Okay, continuing on with the headlamp, here's an example of something I can do today. So I've got cables 8 and cable 7, and locating their relevant pieces, which originally were just twisted together cables when I pulled this apart. We've got number 7 here and we've got number 8 here. So I am going to fit bullet connectors to those. I don't know if originally whether they were continually soldered through, but I'm going to use bullet connectors to start with, and if it proves to be an issue then we can change that later on. Okay, that's 2 bullet connectors. Now to the female side. Not my strongest suit, patience. Give it up. Bent the connector. Straighten that up. Push the rubber sleeve over this. There you have it, 2 bullet connectors, nice firm connection, and they should see good service for the next few years. So I am going to work my way around the electrical system, and anywhere where I think I need bullet connectors I will be fitting them.